Hello everyone, I'm sorry I couldn't be there to deliver this demo, but with the power of editing I'm sure we can make this run very quickly and without any ums or ahs. So just as a quick recap, there are two ways in which QuestLab can talk to QuestNet. The first way is via port 52525. This uses a SOAP endpoint which is solely used to run integrators. These were used extensively for Fugro and also are used by Hansen to trigger integration from various concrete functions in QuestLab. QuestLab talks down to it via the QIntegrator DLL. This DLL is configured via the QIntegrator.dll.config file, not pictured here. The second way that QuestLab talks to QuestNet is via the internal REST API, which is exposed on port 53535, typically, again, by default. And QuestNet again talks to this via the QIntegrator. Both sets of configuration for this are in the same config file. The REST API is used to deliver all of the forms functionality, the more recent licensing functionality for Admin Console and QuestLab, and it was also used for the Hansen robot integration. The problem with this is when customers don't have a QuestNet at all. 99% of all of the good functionality in QuestLab works perfectly well without QuestNet, so this is not an uncommon scenario. In these cases, when you log into QuestLab or the Admin Console, it will still attempt to make this connection. On login, this can wait several seconds. If you happen to trip across any other functionality which calls on QuestNet, that will also wait for several seconds. This was obviously a problem. In QuestLab 461, as documented on the Upgrading to Quest Platform 461 page, this could be worked around by essentially misconfiguring the application, in particular the QuestNet API location, by setting this to an empty string or possibly any old garbage. That will simply cause the connection to fail fast. 461 was designed to fail silently in these cases. We had considered the possibility of installations without QuestNet, it's just that it wasn't properly implemented. So the documentation here will provide a means to work around this, which I believe has already been implemented for Borrel, for example. For Quest Platform 462, we have improved things quite a bit. I will take you through the three different scenarios. In the first scenario, here we have a QuestLab installation, QIntegrator DLL, the QIntegrator DLL config file. This controls the way in which QuestLab connects to QuestNet. Here we have an app settings section with the QuestNet API location. This points to the REST API. In a different section, the System Service Model section, this configuration determines how it connects to the integration session, which triggers the integrators. In this case, QuestNet is running, everything is working as we might expect. So when we log into QuestLab, and we access a form, everything is working as expected. We have the ability to sign it, we have the ability to re-upload the document. Likewise, in the Quest Admin Console, we have all of the new functionality available to us. We can see from on the Questfield forms and Questfield test node, no one actually logged in, so there's no data available there, but we can also see things like on the license. You can see the number of license users, the license type. All this information is coming from QuestNet. In the second scenario, and the one which the config file for new installations actually comes in, these sections are disabled. which indicates QuestLab only mode. When these items are disabled, QuestLab will effectively not attempt to connect to QuestNet at all. This will either disable certain pieces of functionality which require QuestNet, or it will provide an appropriate error. So, for example, if I now log into the admin console, we still have our connections here for QuestField forms and tests. These are still displayed as nodes, but nothing is displayed on the right hand side. Likewise, when we click on the license for certain specific pieces of functionality, such as forms, this is still available, but the export to XSD function, which requires QuestNet to work, is not enabled. In QuestLab, we can most clearly see the difference by again opening up our form. There's nothing here to stop us from viewing the form here. There's nothing to stop us from opening the form. However, things which do rely upon QuestNet, such as signing, refreshing fields, re-uploading documents, these are entirely disabled. Things like the distribution list, these can be edited in QuestLab. However, in this case, they'll provide an error message to indicate that although the distribution could be saved, if there were any mappings on the PDF itself, which display the distribution list, these will not be updated. The final configuration I want to talk about is the one where, in fact, everything is configured to connect, but where, for example, we introduce a problem. For example, QuestNet is not running. It could be that QuestNet isn't running. It could be that the Q-integrated DLL itself has a problem. Either it's missing or it's unregistered. In these cases, QuestLab will be attempting to make a connection when we log in. See, there'll be a slight delay here when we're trying to log in. Finally, we get a single message box at the beginning here when we're trying to log in, which just warns us that the application will work, but certain features will be unavailable. From this point on, there will be no additional attempts to connect to QuestNet. There will be no crazy message boxes that will come up. It simply operates now in QuestLab only mode, just as it were if the configuration were not there.